tips, tricks, other learnings. Basically, I'm Seven. I'm the founder of the company. And I'm going to be going through the tips, tricks, and other learnings. The company initially was called Retro Ink Graphic Design Company back in 2006. So this is something I started way back in high school. And I looked at this game called Fez, and the company was called Polytron. So I took the name Retro Ink Graphic Design Company and shortened it to just Retro Graphic, right? So that makes sense. And then I went to Burning Man. I had some insights. I got into the idea that I should be making schematics for bicycles. And there's this game that I was playing at the time called Arcanum, which is made by the same developers that made Diablo. And they had this game mechanic where you have the ability to combine items in schematics to make new things. So initially, I built this app as a kind of thing where you could look up factory specifications for bicycles. And I learned purely by accident that retrography is a subset of graphic design where they literally copy schematics. So retrographic is the copying of bicycle schematics into something that, will make you money. What's in a name? So thinking of the name for the app then, after coming up with the company name. The app name has to be something that's easy to remember, has to be something that's easy to spell, has to be something that's cute, masculine, and feminine, and it has to fit within the character limit on the home screen of a mobile phone. I considered many things. Something like a derailleur doesn't work because people don't know what a derailleur is oftentimes. They don't know how to spell derailleur. For example, they don't know if it's one L or two L's, right? And it barely fits within the maximum character limit. So that's not a good name. Out of all the parts on a bicycle, Sprocket actually fits a lot of the prerequisites. It fits within the minimum character limit. It's cute. It's masculine, feminine, all those things. Another thing that I wanted to avoid, having worked at SoundHound, is a branding kind of logic mistake, if that makes sense. So SoundHound made the app SoundHound at the time I worked there, and then also made the app called Hound, which was a voice assistant similar to Siri. So you get into this kind of thing of where you're not exactly sure whether the app or the company is the app or the company. And it's the same kind of thing that happened with Facebook making Facebook and then Facebook making Instagram. So is Facebook the company or is Facebook the app? So for Sprocket, I made sure to make Sprocket the app and then Retrographic the company. And then this way I can make it so that I can make other apps in the future, and those other apps in the future can be whatever I want, and they're never going to be mixed up with the company name. So for the app icon, did lots of iterations over a long time for the icon for the company, and I ended up something that is Sprocket-like. And then I started thinking about what to do with the app icon for the app itself. So the main criteria were that it has to be symmetrical, it has to be round like a target, it has to have round corners, work at small sizes, be vectorizable, be monochromatic. So this is kind of like a little history of the process that we went to. And essentially we ended up with a bicycle. And it looks kind of like this on the App Store today. So the main point of the app icon is actually to attract attention to your app and get someone to convert to an install. Speaking of that, designing with data. So let's think about like how I thought about approaching this whole app and this brand in general. So I started with the premise that I wanted to fix climate pollution with software, right? And I wanted to optimize transportation and improve the ability of people moving from A to B. The way to do that is to connect bicycle sellers with bicycle buyers. And when you look at the information available online, it's very clear. The United States has 330 million people, 14% of them, give or take, ride a bicycle sometime within a year. India, most populous country in the world, has something like maybe 66% of the population riding a bike once a week. So when you look at the average customer size for the United States, give or take about 46 million. And when you look at about like what India has, it's about 924 million. So way, way more customers. Essentially, it's kind of like if you want to reach India, you have to go with Android. And Android is also fragmented into a couple of marketplaces, but predominantly it's the Play Store. And the Play Store has an experimentation framework. And that framework basically lets you experiment with the app icon, the screenshots, the store text, and now, as of this year, the in-app prices. So you can create a hypothesis. You can then test that hypothesis in A, B, C, D experiments. You can use those results to increase conversion on the Play Store, and then you could use that conversion to increase your revenue. The basic flow is something like this, where you then, if you're targeting India, you're targeting 1 billion people, roughly. Out of those billion people, about 840 million are using Android. And out of those, about 300 million are interested in installing my app. And out of those, some percentage will open the app and some percentage will buy something in my app. So that's pretty cool. So in terms of marketing, how do you think about that? It's basically you spend some percentage of money to get people to the Play Store. You spend some amount of money that's correlated with results, and you just kind of hope for the best. You have to figure out how to best leverage these 4 different ad platforms that are the predominant ad platforms in the world, which are YouTube, Google search engine, Facebook, and Instagram. They are not necessarily the best platforms for India, so not the best for my business as well. So even if you get them successfully converted, you show them an ad that they like, it means that they get to the Play Store page, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they will then install your app. And overall, what you show to them, like the advertising video or the advertising photo, is all based on cultural vibes. So you don't really know what's going to work from day to day. As opposed to ASO, where you don't spend any money, you just run experiments continuously, and you convert more and more people at a higher percentage. In this case, your spend is directly correlated with results. So you're optimizing a single gateway. You're also not gaming different types of marketing engines with all their different nuances. And we know from the data before that basically all of India uses the Play Store. So we know that there's only one thing that we need to optimize. And every optimization we do that showed in experimental results as successful, we see that that is converting better, and we know that it's increasing installs. So it's just the best way to go. In other words, designing with data, you're looking at something like you have X amount of store visitors versus Y amount of store listing acquisitions, right? So you're basically seeing that there's like more than twice the amount of store listing visitors, and for some reason they're not installing your app. So you can optimize that, and you can use data-driven decision making to optimize that. Or you have this random graph of people from all over the internet that are like visiting your website, some of whom may be clicking on results in Google search to go to your website, and then from your website go to your mobile app, and then from your mobile app store listing page, some of them may install your app, right? So it's a much longer tail, and you have much less control over how many of those people convert at each step. And you have to pay much more money in the hopes that you will convert them. There's kind of a, so I'm from Eastern Europe, there's kind of a famous legend from where I'm from of Susanin. And so he's a monk or something, and he guided the Polish invasion into the middle of nowhere. So he said there was a secret path, and if you take this path, you'll get to where you want to go. And then he basically like offed all of them. So that's not the way that you want to do business when you have money on the line. You want to place your money on sure bets. And based on what we talked about before, there's the name, and that's something that's pretty difficult to change, pretty important. There's the company name, which actually viewing it in the Play Store is not very important. There's the app icon, which is very important and which is highly experimentable on. And then there are the app screenshots, which also you can experiment with on the Play Store within their framework. So all of these things, actually, if you invest time and money into them, demonstratably convert very well for your customers. In fact, right now I'm running an experiment where I'm converting the customers with different screenshots. So I have the screenshots for, I have the app icon for a person, and I have an app icon for a bicycle. And my hypothesis is that actually having a bicycle is more easily identifiable for people with a phone at a distance of like 2 to 3 feet. So people are more likely to download my app because they're more likely to realize it relates to bicycles at a greater distance from their face when it doesn't have a person on the bicycle. So that's the kind of optimization that I'm talking about. And this is kind of where I ran out of time and didn't do any more stuff. So
that was awesome.
Yeah, thanks.
I guess now we can open it up to Lakshmi if she has any questions.
Oh, hi.
Good.
I mean, that was amazing. I had a few questions. So the app sells cycles and parts. Is that correct?
Yeah, so you can buy and sell bicycles parts, very popular in India. There's also doing kind of a process of asking for bicycles or parts that you do not have.
Okay.
And there's also another part of donating bicycles and parts, which is not very well used.
Okay, so it's to just get a basic idea, it's like a marketplace scenario where you can even buy new products. Is that correct? Is that how it works? Like the Facebook Marketplace, so you can put up an ad about, a used cycle or a used part, and then you have and you sell it. Is that how it works?
Exactly. So it's just like Facebook Marketplace, except that
Okay.
it's specialized just to bicycles and bicycle parts. Whereas Facebook Marketplace, they might want to sell you a TV or a used car or something like that.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's nice. It's more specified. And how do you reach out? Like, I mean, there's this app. How do you reach out to people saying there's this app, you need to come get a look at it? I mean, how do you reach out to people that way, especially if you're going to market in a new country? How you doing that? How you reaching out to people?
Yeah. So I think that was going to be the next part of the presentation that I didn't do, but
Okay.
I'm pretty successful on social media. I have several different social media accounts. Sprocket Blog on Instagram. I have a personal Instagram. I have a YouTube, a personal YouTube, a Facebook, a personal Facebook, a LinkedIn, a personal LinkedIn, Twitter, personal Twitter, a Tumblr, a bunch of other things. And I think in total, I have something like 15,000 followers. So
Okay.
when I post stuff, it generally resonates.
Uh-huh.
I will say that there's been a trend where things changed from photo to video recently.
Yeah.
So I've had to modify my pipeline where now instead of posting a photo to Instagram and having automated systems reshare that photo to all the different social media profiles, I have what are called like Reels or
Okay.
YouTube Shorts or on some other platforms that are called something else. So what I'll do generally is in the morning I'll post a video that's about 15 seconds and I'll edit it and post it on Instagram. And then I'll download it from Instagram using Instagram and repost it to all these other social networks. And that's
Okay.
the best way to get exposure on social media today.
Okay.
But
Uh, yeah.
that being said, that actually doesn't work that well. Um,
Okay.
and so it turns out all these social media platforms are just trying to get you to engage more with them, even if you're trying to like make money off of them.
Uh-huh.
The best way remains to actually work on your app and figure out that ASO component that I talked about. And we actually just hit that uh, by trying a whole bunch of different things. So it
Okay.
turns out that for Android, the most important thing is to move the app rating dialog early enough in the app onboarding that the traffic that's installing the app sees that rating dialog. And what that does is it makes it so that people discover your app on the Play Store, then they install it, then they start going through the screens and they're prompted to rate the app. So they rate the app and then it increases the amount of ratings the app has and the overall rating of the app. So then the Play Store recommends it to more people, and then more people install the app and see the rating dialog. So it's kind of like a little flywheel.
Okay.
And that's been bringing, honestly, way more traffic than any of the work I've been doing on social media. So that's your
Mhm.
answer is like actually figuring out those nuanced things within the mobile apps if you're
Mhm.
trying to market a mobile app rather than just relying on social media as its own thing because
Got it.
it's kind of like a little casino.
Got it. So what you suggest is to work on an app more than marketing on social media. If the app is I mean more user friendly and it's out there, it can bring in more uh, traffic into your business, and that's the best way to go forward with it.
I think the message is if you're doing marketing, the
Uh-huh.
marketing needs to be specific to the kind of business that you're marketing. And every business has a different marketing strategy that would apply for it.
Yeah.
For mobile apps, like I figured out a specific thing that's applicable to mobile apps that is
Okay.
very lucrative, right? But
Got
it
it.
won't work if you're like marketing a, I don't know, like a car sales business,
Yeah.
right? Because they don't have a mobile app. So there's some other trick that you would need to figure out for them that would work really well for them.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Okay. And I have this one other question as well. The other one is, wait, I'd written it down, just a second.
All good.
I think that's it. That's it. I
Did
don't.
you learn Lakshmi?
Oh yeah, it was very informative. I mean, it's
Nice.
pretty new. Yeah, the other one was the designing of your website. Did you do it predominantly, or did you have help from someone else?
Yeah, good question. So I initially did not want to make a website at all,
Mm-hmm.
because if you look at the data from the internet, something like 70% of internet traffic uses mobile and 30% is using web, and that's declining. So I was hoping that I could just get away with using mobile apps, but I ended up building a website because it seemed like, as stupid as it sounds, even though Google controls Android and Android controls most of the mobile ecosystem, you still need a website with pages that the Google search engine can index that have to be linked into your mobile app. So
Okay.
I had to build a website for the world's traffic to find my mobile app, because Google does not index the content within Android apps today.
Okay.
And
I'm
it,
sorry. Yeah.
yeah, it was a collaborative effort with me, my contractors from all over the world in Lithuania, Nigeria, India, and the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And it was quite a challenge to build it. And in
Okay.
the end, it's like, as of today in 2023, it turned out that that hack that we did with ratings, that allows the Google Play console to recommend us within the Google Play Store, actually works way better than building a whole website and linking everything down into the Android app. So is it working? Yes. Is it bringing us traffic? Yes. Is it the best thing for marketing for our business? Not necessarily.
Okay. Okay. So, I mean, you got into designing the app and all of that. That was you who initially started all of this, right? You didn't, or did you have somebody help you with all of it? Like,
Yeah, so initially, like professionally, I'm a UI UX designer. So
okay.
I've been in the industry for like a dozen years, and I've worked for a bunch of Silicon Valley companies like SoundHound and Verizon and Lyft. And
Mm-hmm.
I've been designing a lot of really important stuff for these apps in a lot of critical situations. So I've learned a lot about the industry, like how to do it right, how to do it well. And I now have a contractor who's working for me just because I have so many things to do as a business owner outside of design that I need help with design. But initially, for the first, I don't know, 6, 7 years, I was doing it myself. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's helpful.
I think,
Thank you. Thank you for everything.
oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's well put together.
So, what are you doing in terms of marketing for the business?
For me, or
Yeah, yeah.
Have you done the learning modules yet? I guess he's asking.
okay. For the learning modules, I mean, can you can you like come again with a question? I didn't get that.
Have you done any of the modules that I sent
Oh
to you yet?
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's what he's
I've done
asking.
the
Like,
yeah,
what
I've
have you
done
learned
the
from there, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, the learning modules have been helpful in the second module, especially with the brand, the making of the brand, the color theory, and all of that. That was very helpful. Uh, I have my own brand that I'm working on. So, I mean, that was helpful with, just the brand building of my brand that I have right now. And my brand, I'm mostly focused on Instagram and Facebook. So yeah, it's been slow. And I've been thinking of starting a website, but I didn't know how that would be helpful. Like I mean, how helpful a website would be for a brand.
And so let me turn around onto you. So in terms of like the new AI developments, have you been using uh, Bing or Bard or ChatGPT to help you with
Oh,
any of your research or any of your work?
yeah,
How's that been going?
it's been going great. I mean, it's made life much easier just for like a one-man show. AI has been amazing. I mean, small questions. I think I'm turning to ChatGPT for everything, right? In these days, emails to basic questions to most of it. I know some of the information's not right in there, but still.
Yeah,
What about you? How do you see AI turning the whole app scenario? How are you going to integrate it into your app in the future, if that's an idea?
yeah, great question. I think that for my business, I'm trying to stay away from VC funding. So right now, it's a business that's dependent a lot on my own funds. And if I can get every contractor that I employ that I pay hourly to use AI, then I can save money. So a lot of my developers that I work with, and I have a team of like 10 people now, they're
Mhm.
using what's called GitHub Copilot, and it's really helping them code faster. So the way that my team sees it is we're a team of 10 people, but this tool lets us be like a team of 30 people in terms of like the amount of work we can output. And that's been amazing. The thing you say about it kind of hallucinating is totally real. And we have had a lot of issues with like research where we type something in where we have a lot of data to go through and it like makes shit up. So we've
Yeah.
had to go through and make sure that we verify what it's saying, and oftentimes it hasn't been as correct. Like a good example is um, we have a bunch of pages that we generate for like let's say bicycle brands. And for each bicycle brand, we generate a page. And for each bicycle brand that we generate a page for, we want to write a description so that description is indexed on Google. And for that description indexed on Google, we'll like have AI write a paragraph. And for that paragraph, it will write something that seems correct, but may be
Yeah.
completely like absurd and nonsensical. So
Yeah.
you still have to have a human being research the stuff and verify it and make sure it is real and makes sense so that we are putting something out into the world that not only Google picks up, but something that we can make sure that our customers uh, can know is true and correct and not hallucinating
Um,
of a robot.
True. Yeah. I mean, I think AI has a long way to go, especially with design. I mean, they are getting better. And what are like, do you use AI for designing as well? For design, like what are the kind of AI tools that you're using or that you think that are, the best out there for like business?
I think that for AI for design, it's only useful for generating iterations for concepts for the
Mm.
kinds of UIs you can make. But mobile app design and web design is broken into UI and UX. And since the models are not trained on UX stuff, they're not really good at giving you insights into UX design work. So
Okay.
a lot of times you aren't going to get good information from that.
Mhm.
What kind of stuff we do is think through a lot of really complicated business logic, which is really a lot of what like core design is at software companies. And I don't believe that's going to be replaced by AI anytime soon. I think
Okay.
that a lot of that stuff is going to be fairly safe because robots can make really good concepts for what looks good, but then they can't tell like between screens what's going to make sense. Like if you're clicking through an onboarding flow, or you're clicking through a purchase flow, or you're clicking through a seller of a bicycle being contacted by a buyer of a bicycle, right? So that kind of stuff is still very, very hard for machines, and I don't think it's
Mhm.
going to get replaced anytime soon.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for everything. I mean, the slides, and you have all the information, and I mean, thank you for everything. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.